Good morning and welcome to another youth-centered podcast. This is number 13 in our podcast series, and we are very excited today to have our Stevens Pond director, Kelly Wray, who's going to come in and talk a little bit about our opening this week. We're very excited. We're going to be opening up on Wednesday, and Kelly has been a very long tenured staff member at the pond, and her story is great, and we're lucky to have her. So Kelly, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Kelly, you have a pretty long history at the Stevens Pond. Prior to my taking over, you were a gate attendant, and then in my first year of running the pond, you were a first-year lifeguard. You moved up to a more seasoned lifeguard after a couple of years. You then took the role on as assistant director slash lead lifeguard, and for the last, I think, 6 years now, you've been our director down there, and you've done an amazing job. So it's very safe to say that you've grown up at the pond, but who is Kelly Wray outside the pond?
Well, I am a teacher. I teach kindergarten in Lawrence. Next year I'm actually teaching first grade, so I'm really excited about that. Get to loop up with some of my students from this year. I grew up in North Andover, recently moved to Haverhill, a little bit farther away, but still be coming to the pond this summer, of course. And other than that, I do a lot of babysitting on the side, so my life is kids year-round, for sure.
That is awesome. Kelly, we've worked together for a long time, as I'd mentioned. When I say the word Stevens Pond, what does that mean to you?
Stevens Pond, it's my life. I grew up swimming there, learned how to swim there. As you mentioned, I've been working there for 13 years now, give or take a year. So it's a big part of my life. But when I think about it, I think about the kids. We see the same kids every year. We watch them grow up there. One of our lifeguards this year, I actually taught her how to swim probably about 10 years ago. So it's just a really great place for us to watch these kids grow, and they come back every year and they remember us. We remember them. So they're the reason I keep coming back.
That's incredible. Who's that lifeguard that you actually taught to swim and is now going to be teaching new group of
Yes,
kids?
Yes, that's Amy Guggenberger. Her entire family has, they have a few kids. They've come through our swimming lessons, and now we have one employed.
That's incredible. A number of years ago, through a community preservation grant as well as some other funding sources, we did some major renovations at the pond. You and I joke about the days that the building and the bathrooms were being held together by duct tape. The place didn't look great, and then the town made a commitment to say, hey, the Stevens Pond needs renovations, and we're going to put some time and resources into that. What were some of those renovations?
Well, although the old building had some charm for sure, we got a new building, as well as a playground. I think before there was just a couple sets of swings, so that was really upgraded. More recently, the fencing was all redone. It looks really good. It was extended down by where the Wire Hill entrance is, which was nice. We've had a lot of landscaping, flowers, trees along the road. We've had new lifeguard chairs, thanks to a couple of Boy Scouts, new benches, and just some painting overall this year as well to just freshen everything up.
That's awesome. I mean, it really does look really good down there, and under your leadership, and obviously us at the Youth Center and the amazing work of the Department of Public Works, we're actually able to keep that building and the site looking really good. And we've been down there actually the last 3 or 4 weeks with our grunt crew doing a bunch of work, and we're excited about what it's going to look like this year. We have, since the selectmen set the fees for the pond, we have been selling the permits here. We've actually, comparing last year, we have sold more this year at this time than we did last year. And we will be selling those permits up through Tuesday. On Wednesday when we open the pond, you guys will be selling them down there. Explain to our residents, some that have never been there before, what's the process in getting a permit, and what are other things that people can purchase, such as the swimming lessons?
Sure. So if you would like to purchase a season pass, you just come right to the pond starting Wednesday, and you need your license and registration. There will be a gate attendant as you pull in, and they'll ask you to stop, and they will give you a clipboard. You have to fill out a little bit of information, such as just your address, everyone who will be coming under the pass, including your children or babysitters. And then the gate attendant will take your things, and if you write a check or you have to have cash, you can purchase it with them. You can also purchase swimming lessons. They're $50 per session. We have 2 sessions, one that begins right at the beginning of July. So those can also be purchased at the same time that you purchase your season pass, or if you choose to sign up for that later, you just see the gate attendant and they take care of you. Day passes are also available. If you are only going to come a few times, that might be more worth your money. They're $12 for the family to come in, and you can come in and out that day as you please. So yeah.
Yes, and want to remind our residents that if you're paying by check, which we would prefer you to do, make the checks out to the town of North Andover. If you are paying cash, our gate attendants will make sure you get a receipt for that, for your proof of your paying. In terms of swimming lessons, Rosemary Smedili, a longtime select woman, basically has always referred to the pond as the jewel of North Andover. And she's passionate about keeping fees as low as they are. In terms of swimming lessons, some of our youngest kids, and it's a great bargain at $50 for a 4-week session. You've done some great work of adjusting swimming lessons to meet the needs of parents that maybe can't just go in the morning. Can you talk a little bit about what we started last year and what you're hoping to continue this year?
Sure. So in the past, we've only had morning swimming lessons beginning at 10 a.m. or 10:30. A lot of the kids who come to the pond also do summer fun here at the youth center, so that interferes with those morning lessons. So we last year added afternoon swimming lessons beginning at 3. This also accommodates the kids that go to summer school, because that was a conflict as well for some people. So we hope to continue that this year. I know there's already quite a few sign-ups. So, yeah, if anybody's interested, AM and PM this year.
And again, I must emphasize how much a great bargain it is, and our guides who teach the swimming lessons do a great job. In my position, get a ton of calls about our water quality, something that we are very passionate about. Clearly, our first thing that we do every week of operation, which has started already, we will do a weekly water test to test the bacteria, the E. coli levels, and I'm happy to announce that in the last 3 years we have only been closed for 1/2 of one day. So knock on wood, we're hoping that will continue. We also every other year do weed removal, and this was the year that we did that, and I was down there watching them. It's an amazing piece of equipment that basically grinds out the weeds and deposits it on the beach, and then that's removed. And the weed removals, they do grow pretty high down there over the course, so we've got a plan of every other year, and it's done a nice job with that. Unfortunately, about 6 years ago now, almost 6 years ago, we had a problem with blue-green algae, not unlike every other pond in the state of Massachusetts, where we actually had to close for a major part of the summer. We actually have a great maintenance and monitoring plan. John by Jesse at the DPW has done a great job of basically making sure that we're in there early with our maintenance program. We do a number of tests during the summer to kind of monitor that. That'll come under, obviously, your tutelage, Kelly. But, obviously we've been very excited about, the fact that our water quality has been really good. And to be honest with you, in the last 2 years, our neighbors had to close, but we did not. So, again, we're hoping for continued good readings on our water tests. It is tough with all the geese down there. We are working on that on a regular basis, but I'm very impressed with our water quality, and hopefully that will continue. Let's talk about this summer and what are some of the additions. One of the things that I love about Kelly is she's always innovative in not just resting on our laurels and just putting out a product, but doing something very different every year. Over the years, you've brought in different activities for the kids. kids. If you can touch on some of the things we do during the summer, as well as some of the exciting new things we're going to be doing this summer down there.
Sure. So for our regular programming that we've done in the past, we're going to continue with those. We have field games, which are going to be every Tuesday this year, run by the lifeguards, which the kids really love. They become lifeguard fanatics, so it's nice that they lead our programs. We have nature hikes a couple times this summer where we go up Wire Hill. We have a Sandcastle Contest Day, and also our tie-dye shirt day, which is a favorite. We're also adding this year some arts and crafts days, again with the lifeguards, so it's a lot of fun for the kids. In addition to those programs, we have a little collaboration with Supyo, which is stand-up paddleboard yoga. They're a company that's based here in town. They're going to come once a week to do a class for the kids, ages 7 and up, and every other Saturday for the 2 months for adults in the morning. So that should be a fun addition to what we offer. We are also getting some boats and kayaks that will be available to rent, which is really exciting. That's something that a lot of people have asked for in the past years. So really, really pumped to get that going this year. We also have a log roll this year, which will be really fun for some of the older kids that we get here at the pond. So we'll see that come out week 2 or 3 once we get it ready. We also have new ropes this year, super exciting. We've had the same ropes for many, many years, so that'll be a nice new look to the pond. And lastly, we'll have our swim meet in August. We're going to try to have it on August 12th, hopefully, weather depending. And that every year grows as well. We always have a new addition to our swim meet. So
The swim meet has best been as something that's gone on a lot longer than I was there, 50 so years. A big shout out to LaFond Insurance. For years and years and years, the LaFond Brothers Insurance Company has been the sponsor of this event. They actually stepped aside in this past year, but I would be remiss if I did not mention their support for us. Our new sponsor on the swim meet is the amazing Terry Holland and Stacci's Pizza, which helps us continue that. But that's just such a great day with races and family atmosphere down there. So we're obviously extremely excited about that. I would also be remiss if I did not thank the Joseph N. Herman Youth Center Incorporated, which has been supportive of the pond as a area that the youth center actually runs, and they bought the ropes this year and the log roll, and assisting with obviously the kayaks and canoes on there. So thank you to Joseph N. Herman Youth Center Incorporated for allowing us to continue to offer more services, especially for a little bit more of our older kids down there. In terms of, I do want to mention, we do have a senior citizens discount for $45, and it has been taken care of. So if you are a senior citizen, come on down and you get that discount. I also would like to mention that we are passionate in making the pond affordable to all. So if there's a potential inability to pay, just see myself or Kelly, and we'll work with you on that. We want everybody to have the opportunity to be at the pond. When a resident comes to the pond, Kelly, you mentioned a little bit about our gate attendant. When that car rolls up, take us through that process.
sure. So you will see a smiling gate attendant right when you pull in. They will offer you to buy your pass, but if you already have one, you'll have your little sticker on your window, and they will happily wave you in. You'll see our lifeguards all posted up on the beach, watching the water. If you're coming in during our swimming lessons, you'll see a lot of fun happening with that and with our programs and whatnot. So.
Yeah, and again, Kelly's done a great job with training our gate attendants last week, and I think they're all young kids, but they'll do a great job, and I think you're going to love getting to know our gate attendants as much as you do the lifeguards. So who are our lifeguards this year? They are the lifeline in a lot of ways to everything that happens down at the pond, so take us through this year's guards.
Sure. So new this year is Nick Graham, Will Panos, and Amy Guggenberger that I mentioned earlier. So that those staff members are first years, and we've gone through some training with them already. They're really excited. They're taking charge of some of the programs already, so I'm excited about them. And then returning, we have Jillian Borer and Dan Flaherty. Will be their second year. And then Mary Lacey, this will be her third year at the pond. She's actually been promoted to head lifeguard. So the days that you don't see me there, you will see her, and she'll be running the pond.
Yeah, it seems like I got to know a bunch of our new people when we had our quick training here. I think they're all going to be great. They seem passionate about our pond and what our mission is, and can't speak enough about Mary. She is incredible, and glad to see that she's back here again. You mentioned earlier about a potential couple of Eagle Scout projects. We have been very fortunate in my years of running the pond of actually having Eagle Scouts come out and help build some things there. Can you take us through some of the things they've built over the years? And we have 2 projects going on this summer. Talk us through that a little bit.
Sure. So in the past, actually one of our past employees, Timmy John Tremont, did his Eagle Scout project at the pond. He built a few really nice benches, as well as a horseshoe pit that we have over in the grass area. And then a few years ago, I think maybe 3 years now, we had a young man build us 2 new lifeguard chairs that are amazing. They're big. They're going to last us a really, really long time. So those were some exciting projects. This year, we have one young man building us some boat racks for the new canoes and kayaks that we'll have. We also have someone building us a lemonade stand type structure for our gate attendants who sit in the sun all day and typically just use a plastic table, so it'll be a real upgrade for them, and I think it'll look really nice too when people are pulling into the parking lot.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have these Eagle Scouts do their projects for us. Any future Eagle Scouts, please get in touch with me at the Youth Center or Kelly down at the pond. I really feel probably every year would be great if we had an Eagle Scout project doing something down there. And again, we're very fortunate. Those lifeguard chairs that were built a couple of years are massive because we have to move them. They are great. So, obviously, if you do have a project in mind, we'd love to have you talk to us about doing a project down at the Stevens Pond. And the 2 guys that are working on it this summer, thank you. Definitely excited to see what you've built, and Kelly keeps describing it as a lemonade stand, so I'm dying to see what this lemonade stand really looks like. But thank you, guys. Kelly, social media is a huge thing that we actually work on here at the Youth Center, and you've taken social media to a different level as with actually Stevens Pond related sites. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that has actually helped communicate with our residents and actually even had us get feedback, etc.? Mm-hmm. Take us through that.
Sure. So yeah, Facebook has become one of our biggest ways to communicate with residents in general, but also people who have their pond pass. We post about events that are coming up. All of those programs I mentioned will be on there. We post about swimming lessons. If for some reason it's thunder and lightning and they get canceled, that's where we post first. We post photos from all of the events, as well as just from the daily happenings, or even the pre-season things. We post about that so that you're updated even through the winter on anything that's going to be new the next summer. And it's a way for patrons to also contact us. A bunch of us are very good with the messenger, and so if anyone has a question, we're texting you right back or messaging you right back. And it's just a great way for us to make sure everyone's on the same page. And you can even review us on our Facebook page as well. So it's nice to see what people say, and makes us feel good and know what we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, so please check us out on our Stevens Pond social media sites. I think that it's great, and Kelly and the staff do a great job of responding to people right away. We are looking for some people that know of the pond from the days in the past. We are starting to collaborate by trying to get some pictures of old Stevens Pond. Kelly and I have a great picture of that was probably done in the 50s. So any of our older residents out there that have some great pictures of the pond, that would be great and would be willing to donate it to the pond. We're looking to probably build an area where pictures can be inside our changing rooms and the guard shack, etc. Just showing a little bit more history of the pond. So if you got any of those pictures lying around and you wouldn't mind donating to us, come down and see Kelly at the pond or me at the youth center. Kel, my passion, as you know, is relationship building. Talk to me a little bit about at Stevens Pond, which is a fun recreation, 9 week, little maybe 9, 10 weeks every season. How are relationships built at the pond?
Well, I think of two things when you ask me that. The relationships between our staff is the first thing I think about. Our lifeguards work 10 hours a day, at least 5 days a week. They are together a lot. They don't know each other at the beginning of the summer, and they're all really close and hanging out outside of work by the end. And I think that's really important. I think, especially when we're teaching swimming lessons together, our relationship with each other needs to be strong for that to be strong. And I think that happens every summer. We do a pretty good job with that. But otherwise, between the lifeguards and the kids and the families that come to the pond, super important. Again, these patrons spend a lot of time at the pond, so they spend a lot of time with our lifeguards, and we just end up like loving these kids, and they come in and they think that the lifeguards are famous, and it ends up becoming really sad at the end of our 9-10 weeks when we have to say goodbye. We've had people make us cards that last year we had one that was literally crying, a whole letter actually. They make us cookies, they bring us pizza. It's just a real family feel down there, especially with our regulars that we see every day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously down at the pond 2 to 3 times a day, just checking on things, picking up gate receipt money or whatever, and I'm always impressed with how our residents look at you and our staff down there, the gate attendants also. It is a big family atmosphere down there. I do like to go down there on the last day that we are about to close up shop because it's everything. It's laughing, it's hugging, it's tears. Some of the kids are just devastated that the summer's over, probably because they have to go back to school, but also because they've built such great relationships with you. And if you ever wonder if the town is doing the right thing running Stevens Pond, you should come down and actually see this relationship building. It's extremely impressive. Kelly, as we kind of slowly wrap up this podcast, I'm big on passion. Why is the pond such a passion of yours?
As I mentioned earlier, the kids, and now I've told a couple stories about the kids, but they make it. You go down, and if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, the kids, they make you laugh. We are in the water with them doing the swimming lessons. They're just such a good time. And as I said before, kids are my life. I teach 6-year-olds. I have a niece and a nephew. They really make it for us, not just me, but for the lifeguards as well. Makes the summer go by super fast, which is sad, but yeah, it's just a really family-oriented place.
Well, your passion is very evident to me. Kel and our listeners today, I would again be remiss if I didn't talk about the outstanding collaboration we have with our Department of Public Works, Director Jim Stanford, Operations Director Tim Willett, Phil Long, John Bajasi, all guys that, and the crews who come down and rake our sand multiple days in the week, take care of our trash, cut the grass. Tremendous amount of work working with my grunt crew the last month getting things ready, and again, the total collaboration between the youth center, Stevens Pond, and DPW. So thank you, Jim and DPW, for your continued support of putting on a great product for the town. Kelly, what's the future hold for you? We know that you're a school teacher and you're never going to leave the pond. You have a lifetime contract with us. What does the future hold for you?
I think it's really what you said, though. A lot of the same. I love my teaching job in Lawrence, so I'm hoping to stay there for a long time. The pond is perfect as a teacher. I can handle both jobs all year, so I'm hoping to do a lot of the same, but also grow in my position both as a teacher and with the pond, hopefully adding more things as the years goes on as we have in the past.
And we always give our guests the final word, as we call it, to our listeners, the people that you've known and that are coming back again, as well as those first-time residents, those first-time parents and kids. What do you want to say to them?
I just want to say that we're really excited to open on Wednesday. If you're new to town, we can't wait to meet you. And don't forget your sunscreen.
Absolutely. Kelly, thank you for coming on the podcast. I've known Kelly for many years now, and I am lucky to have her as my director at the pond, and I'm hoping that all of you get to know her the same way that I do. So thank you for coming on the podcast, Kelly.
No, thank you for having me.
Next week, we're very excited. We have one of our former seasonal employees, Jimmy Warden, who grew up in our programs, came back and worked in our programs, headed up north to Norwich University, where he was a two-sport college athlete, playing both basketball and lacrosse. He has decided to make Vermont his home for the time being anyways. He was hired as a first-year teacher this year, and really looking forward to reconnecting with Jim on a number of things. Resiliency and growth is when he was a teenager here, and all the way up to some amazing stuff he's doing. He's got a real passion in the classroom. Been following him on social media, and he's a big-time hit up there in the Green Mountain State. So next week we will have Jimmy Warden on our podcast. And as we finish with every podcast, we always finish with what is our motto. Too much passion is not enough passion.